It is time for our brand new installment of Rank and File. I'm your host, Scott Movie Mantz. In this installment, we're going to count down from worst to best the Alien movies. What an impact this film series has had over the last 4 decades. Let's get right to it with number 8 on the list. Alien vs. Predator Requiem, directed by the brothers STRAUSE, release date December 25th, 2007, because nothing says Merry Christmas more than Alien vs. Predator. The cost is $40 million, domestic gross is $42 million, worldwide gross is $130 million, Rotten Tomatoes score is 12%, and I'm surprised it's that high. Look, I gotta do my due diligence here by including these Alien vs. Predator movies on the list. They're just really scraping the bottom of the barrel, not for one, but two tired film franchises, which is why we're just going to move on to number 7, which is Alien vs. Predator, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Release date is August 13th, 2004. Cost is $60 million, domestic gross $80 million, worldwide gross $177 million, Rotten Tomatoes score is 21%. In this case, they tried to tie it to the Alien series by having Lance Henriksen play Weyland. And Sanaa Lathan gave a great performance in this movie, much better than this movie probably deserves. And so much of it feels like filler until we can get to the money shot, which is Alien vs. Predator. And you know what? There's some fun in that. Let's move on to the good stuff, starting with number 6, which is Alien Resurrection, directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Release date November 26, 1997. Cost is $70 million. Domestic gross is $48 million. Worldwide gross $161 million. Rotten Tomatoes score is 55%. When I saw this in 1997, I didn't like it. When I watched it again recently to prepare for Rank and File, I kind of liked it. But what I liked about Alien Resurrection was that the aliens were smart and getting smarter. They learned how to communicate. And Sigourney Weaver gave a very different performance as Ripley because she's basically Ripley's clone. But then it gets very existential because then you start thinking, well, is she really Ripley? Is she human? You start getting into Blade Runner territory where you start asking yourself, what does it mean to be human? Now, it does fall prey to the usual tropes of stupid humans that you don't care about doing stupid things. But the end of this film with the hybrid alien is so wacky and so far out and so twisted, you gotta give it points just for the ending and for Sigourney Weaver's performance. Moving up to number 5 is Prometheus, directed by Ridley Scott. Release date June 8th, 2012. Cost $120 million. Domestic gross $127 million. Worldwide gross $403 million. Rotten Tomatoes score is 73%. Kind of a return to form for the Alien franchise, but it still doesn't feel enough like an Alien movie. It's a prequel. It's a movie about DNA, and the Alien DNA is there because of the H.R. Geiger inspired production design. And you have a standout performance from a strong female character, Elizabeth Shaw, played by Noomi Rapace. You have a very tricky synthetic human, David, played by Michael Fassbender. You don't know what his motives are. I swear, Ash in the first movie ruined it for synthetic humans. It's a good science fiction movie, but it doesn't feel like an Alien movie until the very end, and then it's over. But the one scene that is really the standout is when Noomi Rapace, her character, has to do an emergency medical procedure on herself. And I'll tell you, that scene alone was just bonkers crazy, really hard to watch, but really awesome at the same time. Moving up to number 4 on the list. This is going to be controversial. Alien 3, directed by David Fincher. Release date May 22nd, 1992. The cost is $50 million. Domestic gross $56 million. Worldwide gross $160 million. Rotten Tomatoes score is 44%. I get why people don't like Alien 3, but I really like it a lot. A lot of reasons for this. First of all, this is David Fincher's first movie, and he was so disillusioned by all the studio interference that he kind of disowned the film and really has distanced himself from it. But I like that it felt more like the first Alien, because like the first Alien, it's just one alien knocking off people one by one. The production design is really good, but the visual effects are not good. The alien looked too fake. But I thought that Sigourney Weaver really gave a superb performance as Ripley, really going in different places than she went to for the first two films. This movie is a lot like the first movie because of the intensity, because of the slow build. Maybe it's a little too slow, but it's very intense, very suspenseful. Here's the thing. If Alien 3 came after Alien 1, I think a lot more people would have liked it. But how do you top or follow Alien 2 with all that action? It was a crowd-pleasing, rousing film, and to follow it with a film that's a lot more like the first movie, I think people were generally disappointed, and I get it. Number 3, Alien Covenant, directed by Ridley Scott. Release date is May 19th, 2017. Cost $111 million. Domestic gross $74 million. Worldwide gross $241 million. Rotten Tomatoes score is 65%. Now that's more like it. Ridley Scott making an alien film that feels a lot more like an alien film than its predecessor. Especially in the last 30 minutes, it felt a lot like the first movie. The only drawback is that it feels like it's covering the same ground because it is so inspired by the first two films, especially the first one. And again, you fall prey to the usual tropes of cliche-ridden characters doing really stupid things where they kind of deserve to get knocked off one by one. But the real highlight of this movie, the real highlight of Alien Covenant, is Michael Fassbender versus Michael Fassbender as the synthetic humans, David and Walter. It gets so philosophical, it gets so existential about what it means to be human that it felt like Blade Runner, which is appropriate because Blade Runner, as we all know, was directed by Ridley Scott. The ending of Alien Covenant, I kind of saw it come in, but it is still effective, it is still chilling. Overall, I think Alien Covenant is a very, very good film, a very good Alien movie, and a return to form for the Alien franchise, and a whole lot better than a movie this far into the Alien series, coming so many decades after the original film, has any right to be. Now we're getting into the piece de resistance of this episode of Rank and File. So far, I have never had as much of a back and forth trying to choose the number one movie as I did with Alien and Aliens. I was really going back and forth because I truly love both movies, and they are both brilliant masterpiece films for completely different reasons. So I went on Twitter to ask for your help, to ask what you think is the better movie, Alien or Aliens, and in less than a day, I got a big response. More than 2,500 people responded, and the winner of my Twitter poll was the first Alien, but only with 53%. 47% went with Aliens. So for number 2, I couldn't do a tie. I felt like that would be too much of a cheat. So for my number 2 movie, the movie that I went with, and it was a tough decision. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. Number 2 is Alien. Yes, directed by Ridley Scott. Release date May 25th, 1979. Cost is $11 million. Domestic gross $82 million. Worldwide gross $108 million. Rotten Tomatoes score is 98%. An Academy Award winner for Best Visual Effects and an Academy Award nominee for Best Art and Set Decoration. Yes, Alien is brilliant. Yes, Alien is a masterpiece movie. It is a horror film in space. It's like Halloween, which came out the year before. It's Halloween in space. You don't get a good look at the alien until the very end. What does that sound like? That sounds like Jaws. And even at the end of Alien, you don't get a good look at the alien. But the mood of this film, the atmosphere, the intensity, the suspense, And the last 30 minutes of this film in particular, you cannot breathe. It is really just an incredible, incredible film. The production design by H.R. Geiger and his team, it really gets under your skin and stays there. And I don't care how many times you have seen Alien. The chest bursting scene, poor John Hurt, that scene is still shocking. It is still terrifying. I mean, what a bold, bold thing to do for 1979. Still bold in the 21st century. The movie trailer, the trailer for this film, there's no dialogue, just this like piercing siren and the quick cuts in the editing. It's the best movie trailer ever. The movie poster with the egg that's hatching, and what a great tagline. One of the best movie taglines ever in movie history. In space, no one can hear you scream. So there it is, the #1 film on the rank and file list of the best Alien movies is Aliens, directed by James Cameron. Release date July 18th, 1986. The cost is $18 million. Domestic gross is $85 million. Worldwide gross $131 million. Rotten Tomatoes score is 97%. Winner of 2 Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects and Best Sound Effects Editing. Oscar nominee 5 for art and set decoration, for sound, for editing, for the score by James Horner, and Best Actress Sigourney Weaver. And she got nominated for the second time she played Ripley. This is the reason why I chose Aliens as the #1 Alien movie. It is because of Sigourney Weaver. It is because of what she did with Ripley. She made her just the best female action hero of all time, and one of the very best action heroes by any measure. She was tough. She was in charge. She was commanding. She didn't take crap from anyone. She held her own, but she still had this maternal relationship with Newt. So she gave the movie a whole lot of heart. The other reason I went with Aliens is because the movie is an allegory for Vietnam. These space marines, with all of their firepower, with all of their technology, with all of their smarts and strategic planning, they were still no match for the aliens in their native habitat. They kept coming and coming, and they just had this strength in numbers. This is a trailblazing film. It is a groundbreaking film. It's a totally different movie from the first movie because it's fun, it's exciting, it's still intense, but it is rousing and it has a lot of humor. The other reason I went with Aliens is because I cared more about the characters in this film, especially some of those space marines. Michael Biehn as Hicks. I love Vasquez, and come on, Bill Paxton. The late, great Bill Paxton as Hudson was just kind of a scene stealer. I love him in this movie. Such great dialogue. Game over, man. Game over. And of course, the best line of the film, all together now. Get away from her, you bitch. The end of the film, when Ripley goes after Newt and goes all the way down into the compound to save Newt, and you think that she gets away in the nick of time and then back up on the ship, the alien, the Queen Mother, we get to see the Queen Mother for the first time. She's there and they have it out, and Ripley is wearing this like human tractor machine and they have it out. It's just such a great film. An amazing score by Oscar nominee for that film anyway, James Horner. Another great movie tagline. This time, it's war. So, what did you think of my rank and file list for Alien movies? How would you rank your favorite Alien films? Comment below. If there's another film series you want me to do a rank and file on, hit me up on Twitter at Movie Mantz and let me know, or comment below. And thank you so much for watching. Please share Rank and File with other movie fans. And make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Movie Mantz. Until the next episode of Rank and File, here's looking at you, kid.